Next up is the Tyrannicides. Now, these are also an extra credit example, but because we can use them for both art and religion, I thought I'd follow with them next. Now, they are known as Harmodius and Aristogiton. You've got Harmodius, the younger fella, on the right-hand side, and Aristogiton is on the left. Now, this statue stood in the Athenian Agora. It's got a date of 477-476 BC, and it's a Roman marble copy of an original bronze statue by sculptors Critios, of Critios Boy, and Nesiotes. And they were making a copy of an earlier statue by a sculptor called Antenor to replace one took by the Persians in 480 BC when they sacked Athens. So it's really interesting that they must have really admired and loved this statue in Athens to have immediately replaced it within a couple of years after the sacking of that city. So in terms of how we can use this statue for Greek religion, well, they're a very good example of hero cult because they were actually worshipped in Athens for an act that they had done in their lifetime. So they had attempted to assassinate the tyrant of Athens, who was known as Hippias. And even though it was a failed attempt, they killed his brother Hipparchus instead. This was seen as a precursor to democracy. And in fact, it was only a number of years later that democracy was actually established in Athens. So after their deaths, they were actually worshipped. They had a tomb in the Kerameikos cemetery in the most important section, and their ancestors were even awarded various honours. So, for example, people were not allowed to speak badly of them. So in terms of how we could use them for Greek art, well, a good example of how in the early classical period we've moved away from predominantly grave markers and more towards honorific statues. They're a group, but unlike Clovis and Baiton, you get this impression that they are meant to stand next to each other and interact. They've both got that middle leg forward in a mirrored pose. We've also got more individuality than we had in the archaic period. So for a start, we can tell that Aristogiton, who is on the left-hand side to us, is the older of the two because he's bearded. But also his body is also kind of more heavily defined than that of Aristogiton, again showing his age difference over the younger man. And finally, we've got the addition of personality, again linked to their ages. So Aristogiton, the older, on our left, is concealing his dagger. So he's much more wary and aware of the serious task that they're about to undertake. Whereas the younger, with perhaps the confidence of youth, is striding forwards with his arm high above his head, weapon on show, of course, pose made possible by the use of bronze. And in terms of where you could see this pair today, well, they're in the Naples Archaeological Museum in Italy.